Hey, what's up, everybody? Sorry for the delay, but here we are on the trenches. I am Anthony Walker for Sherdog.com. We are here for our weekly live chat. So let me start off with perhaps my favorite part of the week, just in life in general, to introduce a man who transcends pop culture, whose presence simply just lifts the spirits of everyone anywhere within 100-mile radius of him. He is a remarkable human being. He's perhaps the greatest man known in modern times. His name is Jason Burgos. You may also know him as Captain Credential and the CEO Collector. Sir, how are you doing today, Jason?
I'm good. I'm excited. Glad to see you're alive. Curious what held you up and put the show in a later scheduled date. What's going on in Compton these days?
Well, for your information, I don't live in Compton. I do live in Los Angeles, which overall is a cesspool. But
Everything South Central.
Like, oh man, like LA sucks. But all right, so first of all, I'm sitting on this orange couch with a red hoodie on, and that just looks really bad. So let me take that off there.
That looks good to me. I like that hoodie. It look good. I like the color.
I love the hoodie, man. Love the hoodie. But all right, so here we go. I get home. Well, I try to get home, and I'm rushing home to make sure I can get this broadcast going. And in fact, I'm testing out some new software to try to improve the presentation of the product. And I'm like, oh man, it's gonna be sweet today. We got music, we got the drops and all. And so I'm like, all right, all I need is about 20 minutes to get home, set up, and then I can tinker around, get the last couple of things in order. We'd be good to go. Instead, I pull up to my block, and it's taped off. I'm like, all right. So I'm like, okay, this sucks. I'll be a little bit late, but all right. So I was like, okay, I'll just circle around the other side. That's blocked off too.
Wow.
So then that's when I called you, and I'm like, all right, something's going on. But I'll get home. We'll figure this shit out. So then I go to the other, like the third way, the way that doesn't involve me going completely around the city to come back behind the building. So I go this third way, and then that's blocked off.
Wow.
So I'm like, all right. And so I asked the cop that's there, and I say, hey, is there any way I can get to my apartment? I'm looking at my building. My building's right there.
Yeah.
Like, how do I get there? And he's like, well, you can't because we've got canines running loose in every area that we've taped off. It's like, okay, I don't want to be there. So I'm going to go back to my car. And I sat there and that's when I hit you guys up and say, hey, we got to change up the time or something. I was going to do this from the Google Hangouts app on my phone and just rock it that way. But they opened up the tape in time. I pulled up and just a few minutes late. Apologize, but here we are in the trenches, ready to get this work.
Did you find out what happened? What were the dogs looking for?
Yeah, like some robbery suspects or something.
Really?
Which I find really, because the neighborhood I live in is pretty quiet. Nothing really happens here.
Yeah.
Outside of just regular LA shit. But then there's also a police precinct like less than a block and a half away from me.
Wow.
So I'm like, if you're committing a robbery this close to the actual police precinct, you're a fucking idiot.
Or maybe that's actually clever, because who would suspect you'd rob that close to the precinct?
Yeah, not quite. Wrong. Yep, we can't. Can't do that.
You know what's not wrong though? Since you've got the Iron Man, you've got the Captain America, you got the Marvel, I've got the X-Men. How about the Avengers Endgame trailer? Let's talk about that. Not Ferguson, not Conor McGregor, Endgame trailer.
Yeah, like it definitely we need some good news to talk about. Yeah, dude, I can't wait. So when I actually woke up to your text message asking me about this trailer.
The best way to be woken up, really.
Yeah, every time I wake up to a text message from you, it's about a comic book movie trailer. That's the standard. So I see Jason Burgos on my phone, like, okay, in-game trailer must have just come out. and like I saw it. I saw like when I pulled up Facebook and Twitter and stuff, I saw people reposting it, and I wanted to look, but I was trying not to because I didn't want anything to be given away. But then you talked me into it. You say, hey, they don't give away too much. I watched. I'm so happy I did. It's fantastic. They didn't give away anything. But I will say this. I need me an Avengers spacesuit hoodie.
Yes.
That should be the trenches standard uniform.
For real.
Yeah. So look out for your boy to be rocking the fresh Avengers spacesuit hoodie right there. Just looking too fly for his own good. God damn, this boy smooth.
Yeah. No, I mean, emotional, excited, nervous. You know, I'm gonna bring the hanky and the tissues to the movie there that afternoon or night. I mean, I can't wait for that. I'm just so excited. I've never really been more excited. I mean, this is for people like us, like comic nerds, general nerds, just general geekdom. This is gonna be like a moment in geekdom time that we're gonna look back and tell our kids 30 years, man, this is nothing. You think this movie's big? It ain't Endgame.
Yeah.
It ain't Endgame.
Yeah, when you're on your 30th reboot of some random loser ass hero, we're gonna be like, come on now, you didn't. Back in my day, we watched 20 movies to get to one.
Yes,
that's what we did. All right, so I guess so we don't knock ourselves out of contention for MMA podcasts and move toward comic book podcast. I guess we actually have to talk some mixed martial arts.
Unfortunately.
So I apologize for seeming very unprepared, but I really am. I'm grossly unprepared right now due to other circumstances. But I do want to bring up our stream on my phone so I can monitor some any YouTube chatter. But anyway, we do have to address a very serious matter right now, and I guess the best way to do it is just to do it without our normal fun style. So we're just gonna instead of dropping with a specific question related to Tony Ferguson, I'm just gonna read this. This is the news right here. Tony Ferguson's wife has sought a restraining order against her husband after a series of domestic reports where she called the police on him. Reports include he was smashing up the family's fireplace. He claimed there was a microchip in his leg and a man living in his walls, and he splashed quote unquote holy water on his wife.
Wow.
I honestly don't even know where to start on this one. I mean, unfortunately, we've come across these domestic issues again in our sport, and at a certain point, we have to wonder, like, where does CTE fall?
Yes,
under this.
Yep.
And the thing is, we can only speculate. We don't really know much of anything. I mean, this whole unraveling of some information came about. I want to say it was last weekend, maybe, or something like that. Jeff Sherwood, the founder of Sherdog.com, tweeted out something saying that he got a very good tip that something was going on involving Tony Ferguson's wife and child, and he got a lot of flack for that tweet. And obviously, I mean, he's a guy for obvious reasons. I don't think we should be doubting. And this was, I guess, some tip he got from someone in Orange County Sheriff's Office. And Jeff Sherwood is a native of that area. He's got a lot of friends and a lot of connections within, the law enforcement community there. And then on top of that, he's obviously very, very well respected in the MMA world. So it makes sense that he would have some sort of information before others would. And especially with Tony Ferguson being a resident of Orange County as well, it would make sense he would have some inside knowledge as to what's going on. And he took a lot of flack, man. He took a whole lot of flack for that. But in the end, hey, it looks like he was proven true. So, haters can suck it, I guess. But the thing is, man, it's just an ugly issue that unfortunately I have a feeling we're going to be seeing a lot of in this sport in the near future, man. Because we think about it, this sport is so young. We haven't seen a lot of these guys who we celebrate for being in all these wars kind of come out on the other side of that. Yeah. And try to live their life. And of course, Tony Ferguson is nowhere near washed up or anything. I mean, Tony Ferguson very well could be the best lightweight living right now. But there is definitely something to be said about the amount of people who we hear about these issues coming up and the amount of times they've been hit in the head. And we've seen the same thing in the NFL as well. So before anybody jumps out there on a ledge, let's just let the facts come in. Let's figure out what's going on. I'm not quite ready to pass judgment one way or the other.
It's a scary situation because we got two fighters, one retired, one active and one of the better friends in the world with the Matt Hughes stuff, which is pretty horrific. What there's been out in the police reports about that, and now Tony Ferguson. And this brings to mind, I'm glad you brought the CTE thing because it's a legitimate problem. And Tony Ferguson is the guy who fights in the style where, to devil may care, take damage style. I always remember this. I think it was, luckily I found the story. It happened, I don't have a date. I think it was last year, Real Sports. Well, Real Sports is one of the better investigative journalism sports shows, going on HBO. And they had a story about MMA fighters and domestic violence problems. Now, of course, the main focus was War Machine, John Copenhaver, but they also brought up a lot of other fights, which I didn't even realize. And, some of them, like they talked about Thiago Silva, Josh Grisby, Anthony Johnson, Abel Trujillo, Anthony Lapsley. All of these guys have either been convicted of domestic violence or, have been brought, issues brought up against them. And it's a scary thing. I mean, the sport is only 25 years old. We're really finding out about CTE even more. We see it in boxing. And there has to be a wonder about if there's guys taking even more damage than usual in the sport we love. And you having that many guys already, now you've got possibly Tony Ferguson, you've got Matt Hughes. Like, this is bad in that we don't want this sport to become the domestic violence sport. And it's a scary thing. And this is where like the promotions really need to step in and monitor their fighters and, athletic commissions maybe need to do things like brain scans. Like I know New Jersey does CAT scans for every fighter, maybe every state. I know it's expensive, needs to do it, but this is a serious problem. And now this is starting to get near 10 possibly fighters in the last decade. And this is not good. It's very bad. Now, like you said, it's totally right. Gotta let all the facts come out, but not good. Not good at all.
Yeah. And also, you mentioned Anthony Joshua. It looks like he's just come up again in some sort of issue that an ex-girlfriend or something is accusing him of trying to stalk her or something like that. Yeah, I mean, just a lot of things that just ain't good. But then also you look at what mixed martial arts is, and normal people don't do mixed martial arts.
Yes.
One thing we can say about Tony Ferguson, he is far from normal.
Yeah.
Even the nature of this, if these allegations are true, the reports are coming out about him splashing holy water and smashing the fireplace and things like that, and thinking a microchip is in his leg.
Yeah, that's nuts.
I mean, like that is, and not to make light of the situation, but that's such a Tony Ferguson way to do something. And this, it's almost like I don't know if CTE is like a personality enhancer or something. You know what I'm trying to say? Where it's more like it like just turns up the volume on who you are. I mean, remember what we were saying about Matt Hughes a couple of weeks back, where it was pretty well documented that Matt Hughes was kind of a jackass, before this train accident. So now with the full fight career behind him and brain damage from the train accident, well, now he's still a jackass. So I'm not quite sure what to make of any of this. And Tony Ferguson, at least up until now, as far as I know, has been stellar conduct from everything I can gather. I don't recall him being involved in any incidents or having questions about his character and his personality surrounding him, other than, he's just a weird guy.
And that's the scary thing about CT, because I've watched documentaries about it. Real Sports were the ones who really did like a great segment like 5-6 years ago with the doctor who helped discover CTE and stuff like that. And it takes normal people and makes them, not normal. And it like you said, it will take people that are maybe a little different and not normal, and it will just enhance it. Like, there was a player, a guy who was a center for the Pittsburgh Steelers back in the day. And like some of the symptoms from CTE, if it's serious, are dementia-like. Like you don't know where you are at times, and you forget where you live, and memory issues. Like, for example, Junior Seau, there's a belief that he had it. This guy was a normal guy, family man, and then all of a sudden just, went downward and put a shotgun in his mouth and blew his head off. And like there's a belief now, maybe a guy like Chris Benoit, the infamy of his situation where he, murder-suicide with his son and wife, and maybe he had it too. It takes a person, and he was beloved. He was a well-loved performer in his industry. it takes regular people and makes them do very odd things because it's your brain being completely damaged. So yeah, it's a scary thing. It's very scary.
Yeah, man. So it sucks that we have to start things off like that. We normally like to keep things pretty light around here, but hey, we are actual media members doing our job, so we got to report on things as they come around. All right, so I in my failed efforts to actually I didn't have failed efforts. It's some dumbasses that did whatever robbery and then jacked up my time, and they too stupid to not keep their crimes away from the police station. You dumb motherfuckers. So now I'm playing catch up while we live on air. So I just pulled up all the questions from the week. So I have not been able to cycle through them the way I normally would. But here we go. I'm going to start with question number 1. And this is from Arkridge, I believe is how you pronounce that. Derek Lewis fought with a torn meniscus, ACL, and MCL. Why did he refuse to pull out? Mr. Burgos, what say you?
I mean, the short answer I would imagine is the money. And the second 1A would just be responsibility. He's a responsible guy in terms of he wants to live up to the responsibilities of his job, and he just signed a new contract. So I'm sure he wants the money. He's making much better than money than before. He was saying in the media days he was very happy with his new contract. And he, I guess he's this is people like that. They have responsibilities. They know fans are coming to see them. They're in the main event. They're the headliner. They take that seriously. So it probably was not the smart decision. Simple thing, because I know I've seen the stories about his coach didn't want him to be in it, and he still fought anyway. Though I will say, if you have a just wrecked knee, I don't know why you're throwing so many kicks and stuff like that to start a fight. So, but yeah, I mean, money and responsibility, I think it's probably as simple as that.
Yeah, man. If these reports are true about his knee being so torn up, and him still going out there to fight, you got to think, hey, that money was really sweet, or he really needed it, and one of those two things. And then I think back to when he pulled out the day of the Fabricio Verdun fight, and how was his back that day? Yeah, if the same guy who goes into a fight against Junior Dos Santos with an almost completely blown out knee, if that same guy decides, hey, the day of the fight I can't fight, he must have been hurt as all hell. Yeah, that day. So I would say caution to all you people out there who are listening and watching. That if you want to name call a fighter and you want to call him a bitch, you want to call him a pussy or something like that because they pulled out of a fight or they're scared and all that, don't be that guy. Please don't be that guy. Yeah. You genuinely have no idea what goes on with these gentlemen. And granted, I'm sure there's some people out there who use these injuries as excuses. And then maybe they exaggerate things and make a loss not sting as bad or whatever the case may be. But granted, if you are stepping into that cage, you trained your ass off. You've put your body through a ringer that most people's bodies will just simply not endure unscathed. So you can imagine how many nicks and bruises and lingering injuries that follow someone into that cage. So be respectful of what these ladies and gentlemen put themselves through. It's that simple. I mean, I'm sure if I had Lamborghini money like Derek Lewis got, yeah, I'd want to jump in that cage too, man. In fact, I was about to say, sign me up to fight JDS right now for that Lamborghini money. However, I would like to not spend all that money trying to reconstruct my face. So there's that.
And also, I mean, it's not like an injury, we can reschedule for a couple months. If he's got a complete knee reconstruction, that's a long time. So that means a long time without a really good paycheck. So you rather go in there, take the loss, get that big paycheck, and at least sit on that money as you recover from your injuries than have nothing. It's as simple as that. People got to pay bills.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, no matter what, finances don't stop, man. Nope. Landlord don't give a damn about your blown ACL. Nope. He don't care. All right, so we're going to move on from that to, I guess, the bigger topic of discussion on a very otherwise slow news week for MMA. Your boy, Conor McGregor. And this question is from Kung Fu Z. Boy? That's your man. That's your man's right there. That's your man's.
Really?
Yeah, that's your man's. Yeah.
I never knew.
He won the second belt in your town. That's your man's.
Wow.
Yeah, I heard y'all was kicking.
I mean,
it too.
I am part Irish, so I can see that connection as well. It's fair enough.
That's your man's. Like I said, you know what I'm saying. All right.
Who's your man? Is John Jones your man?
Oh no. Let's not go that far, man. Let's not jump all the way out there. Come on.
Wait a minute. Didn't he fight in the Forum and beat Gus's?
I'm not from LA. I just
you're in LA. You're Tupac.
Oh no, I'm not from LA, man. I just have the misfortune of living here. Okay. All right, so let me pull these questions back up. All right, this is from Kung Fu Z. Oh, and actually, and before I actually get to the question, Edward Carbajal. I think that's how you pronounce your name. I'm sorry if I got it wrong, but he's a Sherdog contributor. In the YouTube chat, he asked, "Was it my cell phone that Conor broke?" No, it was not. But my cell phone.
You are not 22. That's
the cell phone is definitely cracked. I do have a big beard like that guy, but that's another story. All right. So Kung Fu Z says, Conor is all over the media. Do we expect nothing less from him at this point? Yeah.
Is that a question or just a statement?
Oh, it's a question. Did I with the question mark? I probably didn't.
No, fuck this day. It just feels like Kung Fu was giving more of a statement, really, than a question. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get it. But I could have misread it. I could have read it wrong too. So, today sucks. But anyway, all right. So what do you think, Jason? Man, is this something? Do we expect nothing less from your homie Conor McGregor at this point?
My fellow Irishman. I mean, no. I mean, this. Was anybody really like Conor got arrested? What? No. It was like, oh God, he got arrested now. And then when you read it. It's not like something crazy like he's involved with a double murder or kidnapping. He got pissy, took somebody's cell phone and stomped it. It was like Conor, like that kind of thing. So it's just a day in the life of Mr. McGregor, honestly. I really don't want to talk about it too much because I'm tired of talking about him and his shenanigans. I'd rather see him in the cage and fight. I'd love to talk about that for once.
Yeah, unfortunately, we have more questions Conor related. So suck it up, Buttercup. Here we go. So I don't really expect much else from Conor at this point because Conor he does a very good job, whether it's for doing the right things or doing the wrong things. He finds a way in the headlines. When he is not active, we are still talking about him because he is doing something to stay relevant somehow, some way. Now, I don't think he went the calculated route of, I'm going to, the next guy I see taking my picture, I'm going to snatch his phone and I'm going to stomp it because you know what? I need a headline right now. I don't think he went to that extreme, but keep in mind, he's been tweeting after every UFC event, pretty much. He's been challenging everybody under the sun. He's been keeping his name out there as best he can. And this is just kind of an extension of that, albeit in the most knucklehead and foolish of ways to do it. Now, I can sympathize with McGregor in this. If you are a man of this caliber of celebrity, you probably get tired of people approaching you. You probably get tired of people taking pictures and just kind of being in your face. Problem is, though, you're making that everybody in your face kind of money. And this is like what his brand has been built off is fame, is this big personality that just attracts all this attention. So you got to take the bad with the good. Like that's pretty much it. They go hand in hand, and it's kind of no way to get around that. Like, you're that famous, dude. That's what it is. Now, if that guy was purposely antagonizing him and he was saying some crazy stuff, then your dumb ass got what you deserved. But quite frankly, we don't have enough information to know what happened. We don't have. I'm very surprised there isn't like a cell phone video of somebody else in the hotel that captured this, or some security footage or something like that.
Well, there's the video of him stomping it. TMZ got it.
Oh, you did? Okay, I ain't paying attention.
It came out early today. It came out this afternoon. It wasn't too long ago.
Okay, that's why, because it just came out. All right. I mean, there was nothing really spectacular in it.
Nah, from what I saw, it was just like the last bit of like the camera already on the floor, the smack of him stepping on, and like them pushing the guy away, him stepping on him more. They wasn't like the full situation, like how it all went down. Unfortunately, of course it wasn't.
See, that's what we would need to see. We would need to see what the encounter between those two was before the phone was snatched. So if you see the guy jaw jacking you see the guy, you know, bucking up or something, and then Conor reacts, the guy probably deserved it, probably asked for it. And it really, this is so not a big deal. Like the idea of a strong arm robbery. I mean, that sounds so strong. I know when I saw that headline, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like Conor jacked somebody. He had a pissy temper, and he broke somebody's phone.
Yeah.
But I guess the robbery part would be that he put the phone in his pocket.
Yeah.
As he drove away, which, whatever. I'm just like you. I'm tired of talking about these sort of stupid things. Unfortunately, this is such a slow week. We gotta answer all these damn questions. All right, so let's move on to the next one. Just get this shit out the way, bro. From Frank McEgger, shout out to you, Frank. He says, "Do you guys have any info on the reasons Conor McGregor was in Miami as it may relate to his next fight?" The only I was hearing that he was doing some training in South Florida. That's and I correct me if I'm wrong. If you have any info on this one, Jason, but I believe he had an Instagram post with Juan Conero, I believe it was, and they were rolling together. I don't know if this was at ATT in Atlanta or if this was like the main ATT in Coconut Creek. But they were training together, and he was in the southern part of the United States training. So I don't know if this is just an extension of that. We're not sure what he's doing. But Conor has training hubs in like every city that he'll frequent. I know when he comes out to Los Angeles, I don't know if he still trains there, but a gym that I used to work at was his training hub for LA. And it wasn't unusual to hear that he was there, or you come in and you see him hitting the bag or something like that. So I'm not quite sure exactly, but he is training for sure. I do know that for a fact. Beyond just the reports that I've seen, I know for a fact that he is actually fully training now. So that's a good sign.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know anything about it. I think I just defer to you. What you said is probably the best guess I can think of. Just in the city, in the state, just doing some trading, doing some traveling. You know, to go back to the whole phone incident. I'm gonna go a little bit biblical here, and even though I'm not religious really at all, taken from Proverbs 16:27. Idle hands are the devil's workshop, and Conor McGregor is fully in the devil's workshop right now. He needs to get a fight. And he needs to do something. The guy's just too much of a competitor, too much of a performer, too much of a guy who likes the spotlight. He needs something to do. And since he has nothing to train for, nothing to work towards, he's just getting himself into this kind of nonsense.
Yeah, you know what? That actually, I didn't think of it that way, but that makes a lot of sense. I mean, we got to keep in mind too, fighters, like once again, fighters are not normal people.
Yeah, they're goal oriented, you know.
Yeah, they have their motivations are totally different. The way their minds work is totally different. And someone with that level of energy, or that level of aggression, or just the need to hit people, or whatever is driving them to compete, just even being competitive in and of itself. If you don't have an outlet for that, it leads to destructive behavior. If you're of a certain personality type, and the guy who got pissed off and threw a dolly through a bus, or got too excited and jumped over the cage and shoved Mark Goddard, is probably the guy who needs something to do to keep himself occupied, to stay out of dumb things like this. So I can't say I'm surprised at all by something like this. Just that strong arm robbery thing really threw me for a loop. But then when you see what it was, like, oh, that's it. All right, whatever.
Yeah.
All right. So the poll question this week is, are you fed up with Conor McGregor's entitled behavior? So right now, let me pull up these poll results. The poll says 75% yes, it's childish. 25% say no, he's a brilliant marketer. Jason, what say you?
It was 75% yes, he's childish.
Yep, 25% no.
Yeah. I mean, because he's not necessarily like one of my favorite fighters. I'm a big fan. I admire him personally, but he's a fighter that when he fights, I want to see him. I mean, he's one of the best performers, one of the more exciting fighters to watch. So, yeah, I'm just tired of the shenanigans. But I mean, I'm tired of the shenanigans of all kinds of athletes. You know, I'm one of those people as a longtime Giants fan. I was one of those fans the last few days that was not upset that they traded Odell Beckham Jr. You know, I'm just over athletes doing this kind of nonsense. And in Antonio Brown's the world, it's not going to go away. But, you know, Conor is the biggest and the brightest star in our prospective sports. So, yeah, I'm over it. You know, I wish there was a lot more DCs in the world and a lot more, you know, Jacare Souzas and Damian Maias than there were John Jones and Conor McGregor's and Colby Covington's. But, you know, for this particular sport, what makes the money? Damian Maia and like being a nice guy really doesn't make you money. So, but yeah, I'm totally over it already.
Yeah. I mean, I think the truth lies somewhere in the middle. Yes, he is a brilliant marketer. He's incredible at that, but he's also kind of childish in a lot of ways. So I think the combination is definitely there. And quite frankly, it's that combination that makes him so fascinating to watch. You gotta, so a lot of times I like to compare someone's risk adverse behavior to their fight style. Look at a guy like Conor McGregor. If the first strike you throw against a wrestler, a dominating wrestler like Chad Mendes, is a spinning back kick to the head, you might be risk adverse. You just might be.
Yeah.
You know, if you are that risk aversion might make you the same type to just fly out the handle and break a cell phone because it's Tuesday. You know, if you're risk adverse, you might be the type like John Jones to watch YouTube videos to learn how to strike and then go into a cage and try it out. But you might also want to do blow and drive. You know, they're like, this risk adverse behavior is not exactly like something that's compartmentalized. People who take risk in one area probably will take risk in another. So I think that's something to keep in mind. But we can't deny, whether we like what he does or hate what he does, Conor McGregor is brilliant at marketing. He is incredible at marketing. If he was not as good as marketing, he would not have gotten the lights turned out and green lights flashing around when he made his UFC debut. Okay, he would not have been a 2-division champion, because keep in mind that was something that other great champions were denied. Jose Aldo was denied that opportunity. Anderson Silva was never given that opportunity. Like there's plenty that went in Conor McGregor's favor because he's a brilliant marketer, but left unchecked, childish behavior can definitely derail a lot of the good things that he has done in this sport and business-wise. All right, so we shall move on. And this next question is about, yes, Conor McGregor. From Europe 1, he says, guys, be honest. When you heard that Conor smashed a fan's camera over a selfie, did you assume that it was Dylan Dennis? The burn.
That he did it to Dylan Dennis?
Yeah, the burn.
Oh, man.
Wow, poor Dylan. Dylan is catching it right now. Hey, you know what? Hey, Europe 1, yeah, you get the Kung Fu Bow as always. And quite frankly, I only read that question because it was Europe 1. Like, if it was anybody else, I'm like, pass it over. But yeah, I was going. But here's one that makes sense. Another Conor McGregor question from Silax1. Interesting name there.
It's like an alien name.
Yeah, I don't know whether to whether it's like an R&B album or if it's
like a new drug the FDA is about to approve. Silax1.
Yeah, it's like a erectile dysfunction or something. I don't know. But anyway, he says, do you think Conor is more likely to return for UFC 237 in Rio, UFC 238 in Chicago, or 239 in Vegas for International Fight Week?
239.
Yep.
239. I mean, Rio, no. I mean, why? I mean, I know he said he'd love to fight in Rio, but no. Chicago seems to be filling up fairly quickly, and it's got most of it set. I mean, you want to throw Conor McGregor anywhere, but I don't see that. Yeah, International Fight Week. Everybody's going to be focused on it. It's one of the bigger fight weeks of the year. Why would he, the man, an ego the size of the country he comes from, not want to be the center of attention in one of the bigger fight weeks in the sport and be in the main event somewhere? International Fight Week. If he returned, who knows? The way things are, who knows when he's returning? But yeah, that would be my pick.
Yeah, International Fight Week has to be it out of those three options. He may not return that soon. He may not, but that would probably be my best bet, because Rio, is probably too soon. I think for the level of hype they want to build around a Conor McGregor card, and then you got to think of the opponent. So unless, I mean, Aldo was already booked, so you can cancel that rematch out. You most likely would have him facing a Brazilian opponent in Rio. Yeah. The Anderson Silva thing, he's already booked, and the hell with that matchup anyway. That is the dumbest idea. Yeah, that's eternally stupid. And
what do you think of Darren Till was saying? I saw a quick interview talking to Gareth Davies. Darren Till wanted to fight Conor McGregor.
That's just stupid. That's stupid. Like, the guy's fighting at 155. That's where he belongs. Let's just keep it there. Darren Till has trouble making 170. No. I'm so sorry. Like, that's just foolish. I mean, but from a fighter's perspective, I get it. To attach your name to Conor McGregor makes all the sense in the world because, hey, we're talking about you. You know, we're not talking, right? I mean, of course, we'll get to this later, but we're not talking about Darren Till fighting Jorge Masvidal Saturday. We're talking about, will he fight Conor? You know, that will always get someone talking. That would always open up some conversation about you if you attach your name to McGregor. So, but international fight wave Chicago, at Chicago doesn't sound like a bad option. Yeah. But still, International Fight Week is it, man. Like, International Fight Week is when they try to put all these big fights together. They try to put all these cards on all these big bouts on this one card and have a big name. You want a McGregor, you want a John Jones, or you want a Daniel Cormier. You want one of these marquee names to headline International Fight Week. Now, granted, International Fight Week has like a curse around it as of the past several years with like the last minute changes and whatnot. But if you are the UFC, this is probably the direction you want to go because that's going to guarantee the bigger gate, the most eyeballs, and the most fan interest. So there's that. And do we have? Oh, I have good news for you, Jason. No more McGregor questions right now.
Thank the Lord. Thank you. Oh, yes.
All right, so I guess we'll run it back to Matt Hughes from Antithetic. Yes, Matt Hughes is suing his twin brother for ownership of the tractor involved in the restraining order against him. Is that the only way a country boy can survive?
Well played, Antithetic. Well played. Yeah. I mean, he's in trouble because the wife's divorcing him. If she, she's probably gonna leave him, and she wants to take everything. She's gonna take most of it. His kids probably don't want anything to do with him. Now he has a shit relationship with the brother. I mean, the tractor may be the only thing he has in life and of value. So, yeah, I guess it's a smart play for his life, but it's going pretty bad, pretty quick for that man.
Yeah, I can't imagine the money situation is the best for Matt Hughes. So you think about the job he had with the UFC before Endeavor bought out the Fertitta brothers. And he had some little cushy position where he didn't, for my knowledge, he actually didn't do anything. It was kind of like Chuck Liddell's job. You're being paid because of your legacy. Yeah. Which is a sweet deal, but when the new ownership comes and wants to cut costs, you're the first gone. And I think they've only retained Forrest Griffin as far as like the legacy positions for
he really does do fighters. Stuff. He does do a lot of things. I know he works closely with the Performance Center too.
Right, yeah, he's at a lot of the events. He's actually doing a lot of stuff as opposed to just having his name on a business card or whatever. But yeah, so right after that, like almost immediately after his position was dropped from the UFC payroll, you started hearing about him fighting in Bellator.
Oh God!
And they were, and it looks like they were toward him rematching Royce Gracie.
That's
right. It's a rematch everybody was waiting for, apparently, because we didn't have a thorough enough answer in the first fight. But that's not something a guy who doesn't have to worry about money does. Yeah. Right after his job is cut. So you got to think there's some financial trouble there. Maybe he didn't make as much money as we think he might have made. Maybe he was bad with the money. Who knows? But yeah, it's probably not looking good in the Hughes household right now. All right, so let's see what else we have. This is from Tomas. Valentina Shevchenko versus Jessica Eye. Does anybody truly get excited for this? Feels like it'll be another 5-round one-sided decision or Valentina?
1,000%. Yeah, I'm not excited about it. No disrespect to Jessica. It's good for her. The one good thing is, she's earned it, and that's in the UFC. A lot of people who've earned it don't necessarily get it. So, she's won her fight. She's done much better at that division, so it's good for her. But yeah, I just don't see it. And we talked about maybe, I don't know, must have been a month or so ago. It must have been like last year. They were talking about the story where she wasn't even at the camp that helped her get on this winning streak. She was starting her own gym and working out of there. So she's not the place where she should be. That got out of her the best version of her. So going against the best 125 pounder in the world, who was one of the best 135 pounders in the world. There's too much of a talent gap for me to think it should be that much of an interesting fight. And Valentina Shevchenko is exciting for her, but she's not, a saleswoman kind of type. So she has sizzle for the diehards, and then Jessica Ai just really doesn't have general sizzle, and then she's not expected to put much of a fight. So yeah, isn't that card? What is the co-main event of that? Isn't something else the co-main event, or something was thought about possibly being on that card to make it better?
Let me check. Let me double check on that one. That is UFC 238, correct?
I think so. Yeah, I feel like something like maybe there was rumors or something of possibly being on. Oh, that's right, Conor Cerrone. That was that card.
So that was what was rumored.
Yeah, and now people felt that should be the main event, and then it was likely going to be Valentina Ai, and that's what exactly happened. Yeah. So
the only fights that are officially booked, according to what I'm looking at right now, are Valentina Shevchenko, Jessica Ai, obviously, Tatiana Suarez versus Nina Ansaroff, which is that's going to be a good fight. Yeah, and Caitlin Chikogian versus Joanne Calderwood, which also sounds like a very good fight.
Yeah, it's a good fight too. Yeah. So that fight that card is dying for a Conor McGregor. So maybe that earlier question is on something. Maybe the UFC might get a little desperate if ticket sales aren't looking too good for pay-per-view, and the numbers aren't tracking too well. Maybe they say, Conor, you're the main event. We're going to do a 5-round main event special attraction with you and Cerrone. Maybe they're giving on that one.
Well, now see that right there is not you don't do that for a Conor McGregor Cowboy fight. You don't just throw that out there as, this is our emergency play. That is your main play. That's your main play. See, this is when you think all the foolishness they've done with the 125-pound division. This is where those guys come in handy. If you need a main event, you just and you got a title fight already, but you want something else to boost it up. Yeah, put Henry Cejudo versus Joe Benavidez. That is the use of a division that you otherwise don't seem to have a use for. This is another place that it can go. So I don't quite get rid of the 125ers or putting them to the back burner when they have a position like this. Like this is custom made for them. Or if you want to keep Valentina Shevchenko as the main event and give Henry Cejudo as the co-main, fine. But you have 2 title fights that you can put on that poster and fool somebody into ordering it that otherwise wouldn't. If that's what you're trying to do. Now, as far as my excitement level for this fight on paper, no, I am not excited for it. But like you said, Jason, and I don't think I can expound on it any further, I'm excited to see a number 1 contender earn their spot and get their shot.
Yeah,
and I think when it comes to sporting integrity, we're going to have to deal with instances like this. We can't simultaneously complain about the lack of legitimate matchmaking and the lack of legitimate fights, but then complain when legitimate fights are made that may not sound too entertaining.
And I'm glad you said that too, because it's an excellent point. Because sometimes you get surprises. Sometimes you get an Alexander Gustafsson, John Jones. Sometimes you get a Mark Hominick, Jose Aldo, and then some exciting moments happen.
Right, exactly. We have to just let the fights play out. But if the right people are being put up to their shots, hey, I don't see what we can complain about. If people are earning their spots and they're being given them, that sounds like a fair trade-off to me. So I'll take that. I'll take that any day of the week, as opposed to just shotgun matchmaking where you just throw shit on the wall and you see what sticks and then slap it together and tomorrow be damned. I don't like that style of matchmaking. Even if sometimes it produces an entertaining moment here and there.
Yeah, sure.
All right, so let's move on from that. From Yojimbo, another regular. What's up, Yojimbo? Hey, Yojimbo jumped on my YouTube channel over the weekend. So appreciate you, Yo Jimbo, hopping in, helping out the homie. That's what's up. All right, so he says, is Volkan Ozdemir versus Dominic Reyes a #1 contender bout for the light heavyweight belt? How would you sort out that division?
Damn, I mean, this is covering similar ground we've covered recently. I don't know. You know, Johnny Walker's getting closer to the discussion. Damn, I mean, you mentioned Corey Anderson has maybe a case to be made. It could be. If Dominic Reyes goes in there and like knocks him out, but even if he knocked him out, I think Ozdemir is coming off of the loss to Anthony Smith, correct?
Yes.
Yes, I mean,
call me mid sip.
So you know, if he goes and beats him, dominate, it's like okay, he beat the guy who's coming off a loss. So it mirrors. I don't know. It's a tough one. It could be. This is one of those things where someone is going to put on a performance in the right kind of way, and they're just going to get it. You know, Johnny Walker is going to come in and fight maybe somebody on short notice that's really good, and he's going to surprise you. He'll get it. Dominic Reyes can knock this guy out in a minute or less. He'll get it. You know, it's Corey Anderson does it. It's going to be. It feels like one of those things that somebody's going to do something different. You know, be impressive, and then scheduling logistically, it's going to work out favorably and just luckily for them, because I don't really see a clear standout right now. There's a lot of guys in the contention category, but there's no one standing tall above the rest. Like, yes, Alexander Gustafsson, you deserve a title fight. There's nothing like that right now at the moment for 205.
Yeah, I mean, that's really the problem with this division. It's like you got some really good guys at the top, and that's kind of it.
Yeah.
And if you stand out amongst the that's kind of it crowd, you get pushed up to the ultra elites of the world very fast, and in a lot of ways probably too quickly. And Dominic Reyes is very close to being in danger of that. So it's not really too many places he can go from here. I mean, like we were talking about with Johnny Walker last week after beating Misha Serkinov, like there's certain names that you beat them, and yeah, you can improve upon that, but it's not going to be much that you can do to top that. I mean, I guess they can keep feeding you somebody to help you develop, and maybe that's the model that they go with until someone who really clearly stands out gets there. But Dominic Reyes is so dangerously close to fighting John Jones, and as impressive as he looked against OSP at 229, as impressive as he looked when he went through Jared Cannonier, whatever, that still doesn't make me very hopeful for his shot against John Jones. You know, I think he needs some more time to develop. But what is he, like 9 or 10 fights in his career or something? So that's just a problem with light heavyweight. So I think we do have to take a wait and see approach with this. We really do. I mean, so we look at that. We look at what's going to be next for Johnny Walker. We look at who else? Who else am I thinking of? I'm thinking of Alex Gustafsson and Anthony Smith are fighting. Yeah. Which, I mean, of course, John Jones dealt with both of those guys handedly.
Yeah, they're far out of conversation.
But they aren't that far out, because at a certain point they're going to have to be the gatekeepers for the Dominic Reyes of the world. You know, Thiago Santos looks like he's going to get the next shot, but there's going to be too much of mixing and matching or whatever for us to really know what's going on.
Jay just mentioned the name that's going to be the next guy. I forgot all about him.
Yeah, Thiago Santos. Yeah, that's the guy who's getting the next shot. But after that, it's like, what do you do? And then you start having the conversations of, well, if Anthony Johnson comes back at heavyweight, is that a fight John Jones is interested in? What about DC? And then, you know, God forbid we talk about Brock Lesnar again. Like, then these other names start swirling around, and we simply just don't know. We follow the course of contender earns their spot. Dominic Reyes is very, very dangerously close, especially if he beats Volkan Ozdemir. If Volkan Ozdemir wins, I don't see this being a #1 contender fight for him. Judge, by the way, like he was 2 fights down in a row against Anthony Smith and DC. So I think we can rule him out of that. Winning against Dominic Reyes will keep him alive as far as the title picture goes. For if he wins his next one, then all right, maybe. or wins his next 2, then all right, maybe. But Dominic Reyes right now, it's too close to that title shot. This is Icarus with the wings on right now, if you ask me.
It's a messy situation. I'm looking at the rankings, the UFC's ranking, and it's the kind of thing where they need to just move certain guys down. I know they're at the top of the heat and they earn the shot, but it's like almost if you lose, you should probably drop a few more slots and guys should move up because you got Cormier at 1. I mean, can we just make the decision he's probably not going to fight light heavyweight again? I mean, or at least, move him down. As the more time goes by, he should be moving. I know technically he's probably the number 1 guy, but if he's not fighting, he's got to move down. Gustafsson lost. He's at 2. Shouldn't he kind of probably move down, especially with the level of inactivity? Thiago Santos, fair enough. Anthony Smith's at 4. I think him at 4 makes sense. He just lost. That's probably where it should be. Blachowicz, 5. He lost. Volkan Ozdemir, 6. He lost. Corey Anderson's at 7. I was looking at his. He's won, at least 3 in a row. Why is he not, near 4 or near 3? Reyes is at 8, and Jay mentioned some of his wins. He should be probably higher. Latifi, 9, fine. Manuel, 10. Then you got Johnny Walker, who we're talking about is not too far off. Maybe he's at 13. He's going to have to make a really sick jump. Or they're going to be doing like a champion versus a number 9 contender. That's probably not going to work. So they got to do something more with this division in terms of just start moving guys up if they're winning a bunch in a row. And if a guy loses, he's going to fall.
But you're talking about UFC rankings as if they mean anything anyway.
That's true.
That's the thing. We're applying basic logic and reasoning to something that has no logic or reasoning.
Yeah.
UFC rankings are a joke, and we all know this.
The logic only matters when they got to promote a pay-per-view, because then everybody starts moving real quick.
Exactly. And the rankings are good for when I'm trying to reference something in an article, but beyond that, they serve no purpose. They serve absolutely no purpose. I mean, so we got a good follow-up question from Yojimbo on the YouTube chat. And he says, is everyone better off if Jones just moves up to heavyweight?
Yes, that division gets real interesting. It's kind of like Woodley when he lost. All of a sudden, welterweight's fascinating. Ponzinibbio's talking about he wants to fight Woodley, and Ponzinibbio could be Woodley. He definitely got probably a title shot. Darren Till's talking about being back in contention. One of the boys in contention. Masvidal, if he beats Till, he might be in somewhat getting closer to the top 5. If he left, that division is wide open. It's super exciting. Maybe we're looking at Johnny Walker and Dominic Reyes, superstars of the future in a title fight in the year, or Corey Anderson's in the, who Yojimbo asked that?
Yeah, that was Yojimbo.
Yeah, Yojimbo, good question, and I think you're on to something. It probably would be the best. And then John Jones, the heavyweight. How exciting is that? John Jones and Stipe, John Jones versus Ngannou, all these interesting. So yeah, it would be, but I can't blame John Jones for, wanting to stick in the division. He's dominating, that he can still make weight and make a lot of money and make wins. And that's part of the appeal, too, of a great champion. They fight everybody and all comers, and they beat everybody. And then finally, when someone beats them, you get your Henry Cejudo's, your Chris Weidman's, a superstar is born. It's much easier to find a superstar that way than a dude leaves and guys fight it out amongst themselves, and there's never a clear they never beat John Jones kind of moment.
Yeah, exactly, man. Because if John Jones left heavyweight, I mean, look at when he did when John Jones left the sport due to his out of the cage issues, like the disrespect that Daniel Cormier got as a result. The way people invalidated his championship run, and
he was already a champion before,
right? Yeah, he was already a champion coming out of Strikeforce. He had already proven himself as such a legit fighter and one of the best in the world. But even he, a guy who, in a world without John Jones, we're probably talking about the best ever. In this guy couldn't get the respect of a lot of people because he didn't beat John Jones. So imagine the disrespect a Dominic Reyes or Corey Anderson would get if they have that belt and they never fought John Jones. Really, and I love what you said about trying to build up new stars, because, yes, we can get tired. Maybe we get tired of John Jones just piecing up everybody that they line up in front of him. But the day that he doesn't get to piece up somebody, the day somebody pieces him up, will be a fantastic star-making day. Yeah. And we don't have a lot of examples of this. I mean, Chris Weidman and Anderson Silva is probably the closest we have, but
Frankie Edgar with BJ, that was another good one.
Yeah, Frankie Edgar with BJ. Another one, Dillashaw versus Barral.
Garbrandt and Dominic Cruz. because
Garbrandt didn't get to enjoy the fruits of that, though.
Well, I'll say this, and this is why when you beat a legendary figure, it matters, because Garbrandt and Weidman have had real lean periods. Like, Garbrandt lost to 3 in a row. Weidman did defend the title in a little bit, but what did he lose? Like 4 to 5. When you still say those names, they're still viewed as big time stars because they beat that guy, even after the losses. Garbrandt's still gonna, a guy that could be a co-main event or main event on a certain card. Weidman, same thing, like beating the guy, you're made man forever.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'll definitely concede to that one. That's a big point. Yeah, man, like Jones moving up to heavyweight solves a lot of problems in the now.
Yeah,
but it doesn't solve a lot of the problems that we're going to look at down the road. And I think we need to adopt more down the road thinking with mixed martial arts. I say we play the long game. Yes, we could cash out with all sorts of just beautiful sellout matches. Just, oh my goodness, we can have Tim McGraw fight CM Punk. we can have Johnny Walker fight a guy named Absolute. We can have all sorts of interesting things happen that will be entertaining to us and be a lot of fun. But at the end of the day, what does it all mean? Or MMA can go the route of the NFL, where, hey, some games are kind of boring, but at the end of the season, you know who the best is, and you keep coming back for more. And I think that's the approach we need to take. So with that in mind, I don't necessarily want to see John Jones move up to heavyweight if he doesn't have to. If he doesn't have to because he can't cut the weight or because he just wants a new challenge, or it's something involving him, but not for the benefit of everyone who can't beat him. That's not what I want to see. I want to see him get legitimately dethroned by somebody who legitimately beats him. And I think and granted, I don't know the man. I've only spoken to him at a couple of press conferences. But I think John Jones would co-sign that idea.
Yeah,
I would imagine he'd rather get beaten by a guy who really can beat him when the time is right, as opposed to just let these guys do what they do because now I'm gone. It doesn't bode well for the rest of the sport. All right, so. Hell of a follow-up question from Yojimbo.
Yeah, right there. Good job.
Man, ooh, somebody's threatening to steal some kung fu bows out here. Somebody's threatening. All right. So I didn't see this, but I'm going to ask you, Jason, this next question to see if you have seen it. And this question was asked by Jay provided the phonetic pronunciation. So let me try this out. Seirei Okuzinyo. All right. Oh, thank you. Thank you. As Gunnar Nelson's open workout, what the fuck was that?
The open workout, I didn't see the open workout. I know the video, the music video that got it. What did he do in the open workout?
I didn't see the open workout, and I didn't see the video either because I just saw the thumbnail of him in a singlet, and he's like got his back arch, and I'm like, yeah, not my speed.
Yeah, that I can talk about in that because I know the video of the song that they're playing, the original video, and it's in the original video they're doing weird stuff like that in singlets and they're working out. So he was pretty much, which made it all the more weird. It's like, should we care about Gunnar Nelson reenacting one of his favorite videos and just being a fool? And should we care just because he's Gunnar Nelson? I know I don't. So I don't know why that became news. Like, Gunnar Nelson is oddly very popular for some reason.
He's popular in like the Fedor sense that he shows so little personality that you're intrigued by him. So this is like obviously without the mystique, but if this was none of that. If it was Fedor,
oh my god,
or something, the shit would be hilarious and we would love it because it was Fedor doing something weird and exposing personality that he otherwise hides. So that right there is interesting, but I do like to see now. Granted, just Gunnar Nelson just doing his little gyration in the singlet. I just wasn't feeling it, so I didn't watch it. But I do love to see when fighters display their personalities like this because the thing is, you have to do this in this age. You simply have to.
Yeah.
All these guys are wearing the same fucking trunks. They're all wearing the same trunks. They like right now. Brad Pickett is petitioning to let for the UFC to let him put his little hat on and walk out to the cage. And this is what he's known for. Crow Cop, goddamn it, Crow Cop couldn't get anything beyond the regular fight kick. Crow Cop couldn't slap a Reebok logo on that motherfucker.
Nothing will get better than put his little hat on.
Yeah, like come on, let him put his little hat on, man. What's up? Arjun Bueller, if that did I pronounce his last name right? The Canadian Indian fighter.
No idea
he wanted to walk out with his turban. They finally let him. At one point, they didn't let him.
Yeah,
because of this Reebok thing. So fighters need to stand out with their personalities in some way, shape, or form. So if you have the opportunity to do an interview, do it and be yourself. If you have the opportunity to make a fun video, make it. Do it, because those are the things that will make you stand out.
Some of the, because here in New York, sports radio has always been a big thing. So I still listen to sports radio daily. And there's one of the shows I listen to where they have drops and they have like funny little lines and something that was been said over the years on the show. I wish we had the faculties to do drops on this show, because if we could do drops of you saying, let him wear his little hat, and a drop of all these guys are wearing the same fucking shorts. I mean, there wouldn't be anything much better than that. Just to throw that in there at a random moment when things are getting a little too serious. Like we're talking about Matt Hughes, and then just let him wear his fucking little hat.
Yes. Let him wear his little hat, man. Like, so actually, that's actually something I want to have drops on this, and I've actually saved some sound files for drops. So
nice.
Big things coming, bitches. Yeah, man. So yeah, man. Like the fighters need to do things to stand out. Like, their personalities are being swallowed by like some multinational corporation that believes in customization with the same 4 fucking colors.
Yeah.
Like, it's time. Like, the only customization is, oh, you're from Brazil? Okay, green.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
It's like, oh, you're from Brazil? Oh, yellow.
And
like,
just to think, when this thing started, it was just black and white. I mean, it was even worse. This is them getting wild and crazy time.
Oh yeah. Oh, they have lost their minds. Yeah. They have lost their minds now. Oh, they finally figured out how to use paintbrush.
Yeah.
Oh man, everyone's losing their minds right now, man. It's wild at Reebok. So yeah, like, while this sort of foolishness is going on, you need to create these videos. You need to get yourself out there, man. And even if you make a fool of yourself, cool. At least someone's watching. Like, think about like Ryan Bader. Granted, him leaving the UFC definitely has left a sour taste with some people's opinions of him. But remember when he had his workout series on I think it was on YouTube, where it was like it pretended like he was naked and they blurred out his crotch, and he's like showing how to defend a takedown, and the guy's face is like right near his blurred out crotch. Like, stuff like that is funny, and it endears fighters to people who otherwise would have no other connection to them aside from their fights.
Yeah. It's another good example too, and I think the momentum was shifting anyway, but I think this further pushed it along. Daniel Cormier with like the video with the cupcakes and the chicken wings and stuff like that.
Please don't even remind me of that. Don't.
People are going to be playing that 10 years from now when they talk about DC, and just adoringly. That I love that.
Oh, that is one of my least favorite moments in MMA history.
I love that video.
And you sparked the ire of Derek Lewis for disrespecting that Popeyes chicken.
Yeah, it's true.
And yes, Popeyes is better than KFC. So yeah,
there you go. I won't say wrong. I like Popeyes.
Oh, that's where we agreed on that.
Yeah. That's what we had our off-camera conversation about Kansas fried chicken and some of the weird stuff they have in the hood here in New York. I do remember that. Yeah. See, I was trying to start a fight, and then we getting along more. I can't wait for losing. I got to pour some more whiskey. All right. All right. So let's see. What is the next question? Next question is from Kevin Lee. UFC lightweight Kevin Lee joining that's great,
the program today. That's what's up.
Glad you're listening, Kevin.
Yes, yes, and I'm surprised he didn't actually put a space between Kevin and Lee. It's just one word, Kevin Lee. So I like the new spelling.
Yeah.
All right, so since when did Jorge Masvidal turn into a young Andre Arlovsky?
Man, I gotta say I hate the look. I hate it. I mean, but I respect that he's looking to change up the look and stuff like that. Just this particular one. I don't like, but the reference in comparison to Andre Arlovsky from like late 90s or 2000 is wow. Well done, Kevin. Well done. Expert stuff. Good job.
I mean, I was just gonna say he looks like Jesus.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, this definitely looks more of like a Jesus look to me.
But why I like the Andre Arlovsky? Because that's like the go-to. Anybody that has long hair and a beard, oh Jesus! But at least this, he made it an MMA reference, old school reference. I like that.
Or like a rock singer or something.
Yeah.
I don't listen to a lot of rock, so I don't know who they are. Do you know who they are?
Who?
Rock singers.
Do I know rock? Yeah, I like rock music. I like Bohemian Rhapsody. Have you seen Bohemian Rhapsody?
Is that like really rock though? Is it?
Oh, Queen is big time rock, man.
Oh, it is? Okay, I thought it was like it's stadium rock. Okay, that's what they call it. All right, yeah, so it makes sense.
It's good rock. It's old school rock. It's rock.
Yeah, that's good. But see, Bohemian Rhapsody is like a song that just
I mean the movie though.
Did you see the movie? No, I didn't see the movie yet.
Oh, go see it. Come
on. I'm gonna check it out. Check it out. All right, so Frank McEgger on the YouTube chat says Mary Brown's Nothing Better. I'm guessing that's like a chicken joint or something.
Yeah,
I don't know who Mary Brown is.
Is it in Europe? Maybe I don't know.
I don't know who Mary Brown is, but I mean Popeyes is number one. I'm sorry, my guy. Popeyes. There's a place out here in LA called Honey Kettle that is crazy. So yeah, so if you come out here, we're going there. We're going to Honey Kettle. Dope spot. It's like it's not even it's only like a few minutes from me, man. That spot is fire. Jay says Mary Brown's is in Canada. Which is why I have no idea what it is.
Yeah, no desire to go to Canada. So I'll try to remember it, I guess.
Maybe GSP eats there now? I don't know.
No, probably not. He's gonna be like a dude that's like 65 and still insanely fit. Like he'll be 80 and still in better shape than both of us combined.
No, he's definitely in better shape than me now. That's for sure.
I'm talking about when he's 80. He'll still be in better shape than you.
Oh, he'll definitely be in better shape than what I am right now. Like this is so not me at my best right now. Man, everybody on Sherdog is like, man, that doughy monk. What do you know about anything? I gotta get back trim and get my sexy back and let y'all know what time it is. But oh well. Anyway, all right. So let's move on to the next question. This is it. This is the final question, unless we get some more stuff coming in the chat. But right now, this is going to be it. UFC London, who you got? Volkan Ozdemir versus Dominic Reyes.
I'm going Reyes. I just feel Reyes is more of a well-rounded fighter. I interviewed his mentor, coach Joe Stevenson, like 5-6 months ago, and he said something to me that I'll never forget. He'd rather train a wrestler to be a striker than a striker to be a wrestler. He felt they can transition much better. And Dominic Reyes is that guy. He can grapple, and his striking has really come along. And he's a really dangerous striker now. While Ozdemir clearly still has a wrestling weakness. So if things get a little funky and a little hairy on the feet, Dominic Reyes, I feel, can get him to the ground and wrestle him. I think he'll do that, and I think he'll beat him.
Yeah, I'm feeling Dominic Reyes pulling the win too, but I don't even think he needs to take this to the ground. Okay. Volkan Ozdemir has proven himself to be a good striker as far as his power goes, but I mean, I don't think he's as skilled of a striker as his record says he is.
I agree.
And Dominic Reyes is a very polished kickboxer. He's dealt with a variety of different styles of fighters and been able to handle them very effectively by just playing his game. And I don't see that changing much with Volkan Ozdemir. I mean, Volkan Ozdemir has definitely got that. He's got that one-hitter quitter power. But I think Reyes is going to be smart enough defensively to stay away from that and smart enough to keep the fight in a range that better suits him and a pace that better suits him as well. So I think this is really Dominic Reyes' fight to lose. I'm leaning toward him winning by knockout, second or third round. All right, so Let's see the next matchup for who you got. Leon Edwards versus Gunnar Nelson. Jason, what do you think about that one?
I'm leaning Edwards here. Who's looking at his resume? He's got some really good wins, and I feel like he'll do enough to keep it on the feet. But you never know. When you have good British strikers, there's always a question of their grappling ability. And Gunnar Nelson's a guy that is fantastic grappler. So, I'm not feeling overly confident, but I just feel like Gunnar Nelson's a very strong, solid, good fighter, but he has a ceiling. Is Leon Edwards his ceiling? I believe he is above his ceiling. So I think I'm going to go with Leon Edwards.
This one, I've been going back and forth with this one a whole lot, man. Like, if you asked me 5 minutes ago, I probably would give you a different answer. Oh, man, because Leon Edwards is definitely the harder hitter, but Gunnar Nelson is so sneaky with his striking, man. Like, his blend of disciplines is just so odd, but it works so well for him. That might just be enough to do it. That just might be enough. But, man, if one of those Edwards bombs lands, I'm gonna lean toward Gunnar Nelson, man. I'm gonna lean toward him. Just being unorthodox can go a long way, and Leon Edwards is kind of I like what he offers, but I don't see him really getting past that ceiling. I think Gunnar Nelson is more prepped to get through that ceiling than Leon Edwards. So I'm gonna go Gunnar Nelson on this one by decision. All right. And for the final, who you got? But I got a live chat question on YouTube that we'll address in a second too. But Darren Till versus Jorge Masvidal. Mr. Burgos, Captain Credential, the CEO Collector. Please tell me who you got.
I'm gonna go with Till here, but I will be rooting for Jorge Masvidal. I just love his story. I love how he fights. I just feel Jorge's a very good striker. He get in the pocket. He's very sound. He's very technical. Very good boxing. He can kick a little bit if he has to too. But Till showed me a lot in that he's not a striker that he showed me a lot in the Wonderboy fight, in that he's not a striker that, like Conor, that wants to stand in front of you and do his thing and counter punch. He can move around a little bit, and Masvidal has a bit of an issue with guys that move around. Case being, he lost to Lorenz Larkin, and when you look back at that, like, damn, he lost to Lorenz Larkin because move around. If you move around a little bit, Till uses his length well. He's a little bit bigger. He has good straights, good jabs. So I think he'll do enough. But it'll be fascinating because Masvidal is just not a guy that gets finished. So if Till were to finish him, man, super impressive. But if Till can go 5 rounds, technique versus technique against Wonderboy and beat him, another guy that beat Jorge Masvidal. Yes, I know MMA math is really not a thing. Just because one guy beat this guy doesn't mean he can beat him. But on technique levels, he's beating guys that are even better technically and can do with similar things that Jorge's lost to. So I'm going to go with Till.
Yeah, and I think I agree with you. I think Till wins the decision here, but part of my reasoning is similar to yours, but it differs just a bit because Masvidal historically is a guy who does not win close decisions.
Yep, very true.
Till we saw in the Wonderboy fight, and we've seen I forget another fight that he had that was a close decision, but he wins the close decisions. Till does, and in my opinion, he should not have won the Wonderboy fight.
Yep, I agree.
In my opinion, Masvidal should have won like 99% of the split decision fights he lost.
Yeah,
and I think that combination just goes way against Jorge Masvidal, mathematically speaking.
It says something about their technique. How they fight is more probably visually appealing to judges. There's something about Masvidal's style that doesn't appeal to judges. He doesn't get these decisions.
See what I think it is. I think that Masvidal, he carries that street fighting mentality over into the cage, which doesn't always link up to what judges are looking at.
Yeah,
so in a street fight, it's like, okay, you may absorb 50 strikes, and if you land 2 just bombs on somebody and you busted their nose, hey, you won the fight, according to everyone who watched it. And he carries that mentality into a fight, which when you're scoring round by round does not always work. And it can definitely go against you. And also both of these guys tend to counter strike a lot. But we saw when Darren Till fought another counter striker in Wonder Boy, he was able to eke out this decision. And I kind of see it playing the same, but Masvidal being a guy who isn't as technically skilled, and good point from Frank McGregor and Mike S in the chat, saying Till will be way too fast for Masvidal. He said unless Tyron beat him too badly last time. And Mike S co-signed saying Till is the younger, fast fighter. And I think when you take that athletic advantage,
bigger too.
Yeah, much bigger. So you take that athletic advantage along with what tends to happen when both of these guys are counter striking or get into their modes. I think this is Till's decision right here. Designated member who we'll get to a question that he dropped in a second, but saying if Masvidal can put the pressure on Till, a 5-rounder will be a great advantage to him. That's a very fair point.
I agree.
That's a very fair point.
Very true.
I just don't see Masvidal able to put on that consistent pressure because he normally is a guy who likes to hang back and see what you're doing first.
Perfect example. That pressure worked on Cerrone. Cerrone's a guy who doesn't move around a lot, especially from the shoulders up. He's willing to stay in the pocket and go, kickbox with you, that real Muay Thai style, and doesn't move around so that style worked out really well for him. He could push, take some kicks, and get his shots and then pay off. Till's not going to wait there for that. He's not going to stand there. He's going to move around. And if he, it all matters on if he can cut off the cage, then it's real interesting. That'll be to me, that'll be a big decider, because when Till starts moving around, if Masvidal can make him cut off the cage and make him fight, it could be real damn interesting. He's a live dog for sure. I'm excited for this fight.
Yeah, this is a fight I'm not trying to bet no money on this one. I'm not. I mean, I say that a lot, but this is definitely a fight where I'm like, because no matter what, no matter who won, that guy might not win.
Yeah.
I don't want to take those chances with my money. That simple. All right, so we're gonna get to this question from designated member here. Very good question too. We don't get a lot of PFL questions on the show, so I'm always happy to take one. He says, so PFL unveils its female lightweight division, and hardly any of them are actual lightweights. The biggest name is Sarah Kaufman, who fights two divisions.
I wish she's getting to you.
I need to take some more.
The glass almost empty.
I know, right? I have filled that bitch up too. Anyway, all right. So, will this tournament flop or be successful in making Kayla a star? And is there even a point in being outraged?
No point being outraged. I agree. I interviewed Ray Sefo about building the roster, including the women's division. So I don't think he's trying to set it up for Kayla, but it's a division. I mean, there's no other women's lightweight division, as far as I know, in the world of MMA. So this is the first. So even I asked him that day, and he said that's likely they were going to pull from featherweight. I didn't think they were going to pull from bantamweight with Sarah Kaufman, but, that's a little surprising. But I think it made sense for them in terms of she was available. She's a name. She's fought a lot of great veterans, stuff like that. So it's a good ad. It's just I don't see how she's going to handle Kayla Harrison. But let's be real. It's a showcase for Kayla Harrison to look good. And that's not because Kayla Harrison isn't good. She is. I think she's legit. I think she can totally one day go to UFC and be for real talent there and be a UFC champion one day. But it's just going to be a showcase because she's going to be head and shoulders above the rest. Hopefully we can get a surprise, and hopefully during this season and into the playoffs, maybe we'll get a good test for Kayla Harrison. Somebody can drag her into deep waters. And if that happens, I think it was all worth it.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with you about not being outraged. It's no point in being outraged. No. But one thing I will definitely disagree with you on is that, were you saying Ray Sefo isn't setting this up for Kayla to win? Come on now, come on now. They're literally, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with this, because they have a legitimate star in the making with Kayla. That's very clear. Kayla Harrison is going to be a force in this sport, and PFL was fortunate enough to secure the rights to her fight career for the time being. So you got to maximize it. So yes, you're setting her up to win. When they put her up against some chick that was a boxer in West Virginia or whatever, and just threw her in the cage, and she came in there with rolls hanging over her shorts, and clearly is not in shape to fight this fight, and she got whooped up. Hey, they still paid Kayla. They still put that highlight reel on Twitter and on Instagram and everything to let you know that this was for real. So this is what they're doing. And the thing is, it's like you kind of have to build this up for Kayla to win, because I mean, if someone emerges and beats her, fine, you got a new star in the making. But if you are constructing a division based around one person, chances are that person is set up to win it.
Yeah,
and that's just the simple, the simple economics of it. Like Cyborg, the featherweight division exists because Cyborg is alive. If Cyborg were not a competing fighter, if Cyborg were just your cashier at Starbucks, there would be no women's featherweight division. Same way there would be no women's division in the UFC if Ronda Rousey never came along. So these things are normally set up because of one person's presence. And Kayla Harrison is obviously that presence at 155. So yeah, PFL's got to do what they can with this big name, because she is the biggest name on their roster right now, and she's got all the legit skills to make something of it. So hey, set it up for her to win. I'm not mad at it. Not mad at it at all. I mean, it is how you do business. You got to stand out somehow, and you got to star. This is their one star. Like, every promotion has at least one star that they can base a lot of things off of, and Kayla Harrison is it for PFL, so they got to ride with her.
Yeah, I mean, and I mean, I think, you know, Cephalo's effort was legit. I mean, and also you can hear the audio of my conversation with Cephalo on the Sherdog YouTube or my own personal YouTube. Just search my name, please subscribe to both. Because, you know, he had his work cut out for him in the first place with this division. Because, and I even asked him, did he think it was going to be harder than it was? And for him, he felt it was easier. But 145 is a tough division across the sport. Like, the UFC, Bellator all lack depth. So them trying a new division, you know, it was going to be a problem anyway. I'm curious on what he can find. Jay put it up for us in the chat. They've got Kayla, who's 3-0, Sarah Kaufman, who's 20-4. We all know who's really a bantamweight. Jana Fabian, 1-0. Bobby Joe Dalziel, 4-0. Svetlana Kotova, 2-0. Roberta Samad, 4-1. Larissa Pacheco, who's 11-2, which is interesting. Maybe she'll be the test. And Morgan Fryer, 4-1. So in the end, it doesn't look too terrible because they're all kind of in the same level of Kayla and stuff like that. So maybe they find a gem. Maybe because featherweight and Cyborg has become a star, maybe that part of the sport has developed greater than we know, and maybe hopefully they'll find a gem. It's somebody that can take it to the test, and maybe we get 2 or 3 fights out of Kayla in difficult situations from it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so I'm very curious what this next PFL season is going to look like. I was very pleasantly surprised by what PFL offered in the first season. I for one, when this whole thing was announced, when World Series of Fighting was getting that makeover, I was the first person in line like, oh, this is trash. I was proven wrong, and ended up being very entertaining. I had an excellent time watching them. Got to cover one of their fights live. I know you frequented PFL events because a lot of them were held in the New York area. So, so yeah, I had a very pleasant experience there live. I know you did as well. So yeah, I'm very excited to see what PFL has to offer for this next season, and especially with this ESPN deal.
Yeah,
man.
exactly.
Kayla Harrison on ESPN, man, you think she's not going to make a Sports Center highlight reel from hip tossing some poor young lady? Yeah, man, like that's a star right there, and PFL's doing the right thing, so they got to work with it. So, all right, so I'm going to take one last question. Unless something earth-shattering comes up on the YouTube chat, but we're taking this question because it's from the homie Frank McEgger, who himself is deserving of a kung fu bout. But I got to talk to Europe one first to see if I can just give away these kung fu bouts with his permission. But Frank McEgger, you get the salute, my man. All right, so he asks, what fight makes the most sense for the next female GOAT, Amanda Nunes?
That's a tough one. I mean, Jay, if you can look it up, like what's the top 5 at women's featherweight in the UFC and bantamweight, if possible, if you have the time. I don't know. I mean, Holly Holm seems the likeliest one because as far as I know, they haven't fought yet.
Right. That's like the one matchup she hasn't had. That's because Holly Holm.
But even then, that does not have the sizzle of Holly Holm 3-4 years ago, post Ronda Rousey. Like, Holly Holm's lost since then. You know, she had a shot to win that title against Dave Rondami and lost, you know, as controversial as it was. So she's only gotten older. She's not, you know, she's lost to Valentina twice. Chase Givens is featherweight. Nothing.
Yeah, no featherweight. Yeah,
they don't have a featherweight division ranking, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, I think they took it off the UFC page. Like, it shows Amanda Nunes at bantamweight with 2 belts, from what I understand. So.
Yeah, so Holm just seems like the only likely one that makes any sense. I'm not overly excited, but if it's a co-main event on a good card, I'm interested.
Yeah, like I want to see. I would like to see her against Holly Holm, because I think style-wise that would be a very, very interesting matchup. Also, I think also we got to start talking about, and I wrote an article about this, and I guess nobody read it or took it to heart. But
the way you said, I guess no one read.
Yeah, it was just kind of demoralizing. I'm like, I'm giving you ideas, use them, damn it. But I think this is a time where we got to start thinking about the UFC's rule about co-promotion. Do you co-promote with Invicta at this point?
Yeah, or just eat it up. Nah, you can't eat it up that way.
Don't eat it up. Don't eat it up, because they're doing a great thing with their product where it is, and it's one of the top rated things on Fight Pass. So keep it. Yeah. Keep it there. Keep it as a separate promotion. But it might be time to start cycling some of these ladies in and out Invicta in the UFC more freely. Yeah. To have the Invicta champion come up and fight Amanda Nunes, because it gives a body and a fresh look, and it gives a shine on Invicta, and it gives a shine on Fight Pass in turn. Like, I think there are a lot of missed opportunities right here by the UFC trying to stick with this dogmatic way of not co-promoting. And when you're doing that with a property that you have a broadcast partnership with, I think you're shooting yourself in the foot. I
mean, haven't they kind of, in the way, not co-promoted, but in the end, they just promoted those certain women from that show onto theirs? They did it with Megan Anderson. They did it with who's the one that fought Cyborg? I think like her first or second
Evinger.
Yeah, Evinger. You know,
so they should have been in the UFC long before that.
Yeah, and I feel like story. They might have been someone else, but I feel like they kind of have done it already.
Angela Hill, but it's not a free exchange. It's not like it's not like where Invicta is highlighted more so on the UFC broadcast. It's done as it's just kind of this little cousin in the corner that we don't talk about a lot. Like, and I think that's the problem in it. Where little moments, like for instance, when I was in the building for this one. It was a pretty dope moment when Cyborg and Tanya Evinger fought at UFC 214. Like, how dope it was to be there. But then you're thinking, like, I went back and watched the broadcast later, and it's like, you might want to have. It'd be nice when they had that third person in the booth, have TJ DeSantis or Julie Kedzie on that call, because hey, they called all their fights in Invicta. It adds a level of synergy to it. Like, let them both come out to the cage with their Invicta belts. You know, little things like that will boost profiles, and it will only just create more fans. It will all just turn more eyeballs to a product that the UFC is already controlling. Yeah.
No good reason not to.
Yeah, so I think those, and I think we may have talked about this on the show before, if not in our personal conversations. But when you have these sort of moments where you have the opportunity to make the product stand out, you should take them. Yeah, you know, when you're in Japan, just have a white floor and the Pride logo in the middle of it, just for the fun of it, and the blue gloves, just because. Yeah, you know, when you go make a trip to San Jose, I just wear the Strike Force gloves just because, you know, just to make things just something fresher, just something to acknowledge what else has existed in the world.
Yeah, I mean, even WWE has done that when they purchased ECW and WCW. You know, they make reference to it, or did like an ECW pay-per-view and stuff like that, or they use former WCW pay-per-view names, stuff like that. If you own it, you can't hurt the brand because you own it. You own the library. You own the IP. You can't hurt your own brand by using something that's going to make you more money.
Right. And while they don't own Invicta, Shannon Knapp is running that promotion as its own separate entity, they have a broadcast partnership with them. And they put on frequently a good product, a very good product. Invicta fights are fun to watch 9 times out of 10. You know, it would make a lot of sense to just say, hey, let's just acknowledge what we have right here and let's boost its profile. And maybe we all get a little richer in the process.
Isn't that the point?
That is the point. And on that note, I think we're going to wrap this one up for the week. So, Jason, please tell the fine folks out there in Sherdog land where they can find you, sir.
As always, Cheap Seats Chat on Twitter and Instagram. Have the story up with Pedro Munoz, which seems to has gotten a good amount of interest this week, talking about his win in UFC 235. Got some good stories in the way. Talked to Bibiano Fernandez. That should be, coming in several weeks. Got a lot of Bellator stories I'm working on. Got to talk to Georgia Karahanyan, who on 2 weeks' notice is going to be in the main event against Manuel Sanchez next Friday, which was interesting because I got to talk to him about his really controversial, weird, bugged out end to his ACB run, which has been covered a little bit in other outlets, but I got to ask him more questions. I got to talk to Johnny Eblin, who is a rising prospect. He's a part of that, how Shamrock FC fighters are then moved on and promoted to Bellator. He's a Shamrock FC fighter and an ATT fighter. And going to talk to Emmanuel Sanchez tomorrow. And some other Bellator interviews next with Joey Davis. And I have my questions here. Hopefully should be talking to Eddie Alvarez on next Monday too. So look for those stories in coming weeks. The Bellator stuff will be sooner than the one stuff.
That's what's up. All right. So before I say my goodbyes, Jay just put up in the notes too that to piggyback on my point, UFC Denver, which was the 25th anniversary show, used the old Ultiman logo and everything, and and the old graphics, and it was fun to watch. And
it was. That's more reason why they should do exactly what you said with the Strike Force. But no, they're going to kiss their own hiney instead of kissing other people who have been successful in their world's hiney. They don't want to do that.
Respect the heinies of the past.
For real.
Respect the Strike Force of the future. Yes. Strike Force hiney.
Yes.
Did not think I would live my life and ever say that phrase.
Turn that into a drop. Strike.
That's such a drop. Such a drop. All right. So I, of course, am Anthony Walker. You can find me on Twitter at AntWalkerMMA. That's also my Instagram. So everything I got coming up, check out Collider Sports. I just did another appearance on their MMA Takedown show. I think that just got released because I did that earlier today. So I think it's just out. Me and the homie Dennis. Also, I've got Ask Ant that should be coming up. I can't promise it. I got to look at what questions are left over and see if I feel like writing about any of it. Yeah. And if so, then Ask Ant will be coming out tomorrow or Saturday. They kind of do Friday or Saturday with me on that one. I don't know, but I'll turn it in tomorrow, if not tonight. Also, The Good, Bad, and the Ugly, my regular post-fight column, that will go live Sunday after UFC London. I will also do an immediate post-fight reaction on the Walkout Network, and that show is called The Walk of Shame. The Walk of Shame will be live immediately after UFC London. What else I got coming up? Oh, MMA on Point. My latest video for MMA on Point just went live earlier today about 10 post-fight speeches that move the crowd. So please check out all that content. I know I threw a lot at y'all, but y'all motherfuckers got time. So go ahead and check that out. Once again, appreciate everybody who joined in and participated. I appreciate everybody who watched on YouTube, on the forum, and whatnot. And hey, thank you all. We love y'all, and we hope to see you next week on the trenches. So
please subscribe. Please subscribe if you can.
Yeah, please subscribe. I forget, I always say like and subscribe. I keep saying and share that shit on social media, man. Share that shit. Yeah, do all that. So yeah, man. So I definitely got to thank the homie Jay doing the background work. Excellent job as always. Jay is the man. Respect and follow him on Twitter. Jay JAYPETTRY is how you spell that. So go ahead and check that man out as well. He's a great follow on Twitter. So anyway, For Jason Burgos, Captain Credential, the CEO Collector, an exceptional man. I am Anthony Walker. I am the Sultan of Sexy, or whatever. I just made that shit up. So you know what to do. Oh, actually, Jay just said no in the chat.
I know why.
Why, Jay? All right, so don't follow Jay, or did I spell the name wrong?
Oh, that's right. I think he said he doesn't like people saying his name.
Yeah. So don't follow.
He must be
a name, man.
I think Jay's like on the FBA watch list. He's trying to be off the grid while on the grid.
Oh, okay. Well, how about this? Just don't listen to anything I said about Jay. He's a nice person. He's a great guy, but don't follow him on Twitter. Don't even acknowledge him unless we said it first.
We don't work with a guy named Jay. It's some guy named Emilio. It's not Jay.
Yeah. Follow Emilio on Twitter.
Yeah, Emilio. Mm-hmm.
That's the guy. At
I
Emilio.
really do. Mm-hmm.
There's probably a random guy named at Emilio whose follows just going to get boosted up now because of this. So shout out to you, Emilio. All right. So anyway, appreciate y'all tuning in. Appreciate y'all participating. Hope to see you next week. Get those questions ready. We're going to have a lot to talk about next week in this crazy ass sport. So you know what to do. You got to stay beautiful. You got to stay positive. You got to stay ready for whatever these mean streets provide, even if you can't get into your apartment at the last minute. It happens, man. But throughout it all, you must stay beautiful, stay fresh, and yes, you must stay sexy. I will see you when I see you. Peace.
And stay